Hello, welcome to TrueHoop with me, Jarod, Hector, and Coach David Thorpe. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. This is busy time of the year for you. The draft just concluded last week. As everybody knows, free agency officially begins tomorrow on Friday, even though we know, let's be honest, folks, if you listen to this show long enough and you know enough about basketball, moves and deals are already happening right now as we speak. It have been happening for months on end. We're just waiting for certain dates to take off.
I had a player tell me yesterday that a team trying to sign him needs an answer by today.
Right.
He called me. He's like, "Dude, should we do it? I've got the other teams waiting." And I told him to wait. But yeah, he wants to know. They want to know today.
Yeah. No, and it's it's an interesting time for everybody, and we're going to talk about free agency in a different way, obviously. We'll talk about some team specifics, but more so into what David's wheelhouse is, which is player development. And as you've said multiple times, and I agree with, for just about 99% of players coming into the NBA, where they are determines how good they're going to be, right? What kind of system is there, what their development is like, all the culture, all that stuff matters. Then you get your LeBrons and whoever, who it doesn't matter where they go, they're going to be great regardless, but those are few and far between, right? Everyone else, you've got to go to the right situation, which is why, sometimes for some people, free agency, this is where we're moving, this is what we're doing. You wrote a piece, came out this week, about the young cores in the league coming off the draft and who we're excited about. And I loved how you prefaced it when you said things can change so fast in this league. Just ask Memphis and New Orleans how they, right? I mean, a year ago, we were like, well, Grizzlies best yet, right? By far, and it wasn't close. Now it's like, well.
And they're not even it's not even just injuries.
Right.
Think of the things Zion's gone through,
right,
not counting his injury.
Right. Correct.
And then Ja's injuries are fine, but that's not the problem.
Right.
Shit can change fast. It's hard to forecast the weather. It's harder to forecast human beings
and how they're going to behave and all that sort of thing. So you ranked the San Antonio Spurs first, and obviously it's because Wemby's a big part of that. You said at his age, he's the best prospect at 19 you've seen since LeBron, right? Or no, you said you take him over LeBron. Best prospect you've seen at 19.
I think he's the best prospect I've ever seen. Yeah.
Now, doesn't mean he's going to be better than LeBron or Mike or
I would not.
People.
I would not predict that he would be better than LeBron or Jordan. They're the two best of all time. He has the potential to have that kind of impact or more. There's a lot to be figured out, but he's so far away from us saying he's better than those guys. Yeah. He's just a better prospect.
Yeah. And he isn't the only reason, though, you like the San Antonio Spurs. They've got a lot of young talent we talked about. Jeremy Sohan, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Trey Jones, Blake Wesley, Dominic Barlow, and Malachi Branham. A bunch of good guys. And it's placed into the new CBA. They've got cap space. If you're paying attention to the tea leaves, if you're an agent, you're mentioning the Houston Rockets, San Antonio, just putting that out there because they got a ton of cap space. So cause the team you really want your guy to go to have to pay more to avoid them going to that team. But all that being said, the future's bright in San Antonio. From a development standpoint, let's go there first. What, again, we talked about this on Monday. You can't give him the whole house, a shoe. We talked about Victor, moving that aside. A guy like Jeremy Sohan, right, who had a year already playing. What's the next level for him to help to be that player next to Victor for the Spurs to, move up one level, one rung up into the Western Conference?
All right. Yeah. So I want to circle back to lead into this to something you said about how it's hard to predict players and how they're going to react to things. A year ago, Jordan Poole was a champion.
Correct.
And had a positive impact on the games. Mm-hmm. When they was on the court, they were better. Mm-hmm. I believe this year they were worse. Correct. And from people I've talked to connected to the team, he did not deserve to get punched in the face. That being said, he deserved everything he got this year, separate from being punched in the face, that he let the success get to his head. It's very normal. Sure. We say this, you know me say this all the time. Human beings, we tend to relax after a success. We also tend to be prone to feeling arrogant. I know in my early 20s, when I started crushing people on the court, it definitely went to my head as a coach. Not as a man. I didn't feel any differently about myself as a person. As a coach, I did. I felt I was feeling myself too much. I'm embarrassed about it. I was a jerk. I treated people that I thought were bad coaches worse than they deserved if they were good human beings. That should have mattered more to me. I was 20-something years old. I was just dumb as fuck. And so are human beings in general.
Mhm.
So handling success is a challenge, just like handling failure, right? So now let's get to the Spurs, and we talked about Jeremy in particular, but I'll be more general. The way I like to do it with almost every player is focus on things that can absolutely be handled successfully with effort, study, focus, attention to detail. So what does that mean? Know your assignments. Really know your assignments. Get to them to where you're supposed to be with urgency, which means play with urgency. Right away, by the way, that's not how most people are thinking.
Yeah.
They're thinking about the step back three off 18 dribbles and whatever. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. That's just not how I do it. That's hard to do. It's not hard to pay attention to detail. So what does that mean? Hold your screen. Get wide on your screens. Don't lean into it and get the foul. That pisses me off. Don't rush into a crowd. Play away from the crowd. Use shot fakes. I had a player this year, young guy, who just kept getting his shot blocked. And I get so frustrated. On the other end, he was getting better at not jumping like a puppy dog for fakes, but the game was still too fast for him. He's used to just jumping and laying it up because he's a tall guy, but not against these guys. You've got to fake, fake, fake. I told him, wake up and think fake. Take a nap, wake up, think fake. Go to sleep dreaming of fakes. Like, slow down. So these are all things we can control. I haven't mentioned once making a three, right? Play athletically, no matter what kind of athlete you are. Play athletically. Stop laying the ball up over the rim. That shit's going to get blocked. Dunk it or use the board at an angle where they can't get to it. These are easily controlled things. Use fake passes. This is an important thing. Don't run the floor, race the floor. Stop jogging. These are things we can control. It takes a while to get this.
It does.
Right? Don't go for fakes. Know if we're going over a screen or under a screen guarding certain guys. Here's a big one. I may have said this on the show once before. Don't block out with your arms wrapped around your guy, which is something a lot of thin, weak guys do. They feel like they can't just use their bodies to prevent the other guy from coming. You'll see it in Summer League. So they wrap their guy up. That may work to keep the bad guy from getting the offensive rebound, but you're not going to rebound unless you're a SEAL, catching it on your nose. That's not going to happen. So we've got to get active hands. Early high hand contest, not low hands all the time. It's one of the few things I think Mark Jackson gets right all the time about those hands. He's exactly right.
Man down, man down.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. So these are things that if you focus on them from day one, and be strong with the ball. I could go on for a long time.
No, that's good stuff.
Be strong with the ball. Hide the ball. Protect the ball. Here's the bad guys on your left. You're going for a right-hand layup. Most players will swing the ball back to their left, right to their hip or right to their left of their chest, right to where the defense is. That's going to be taken. I worked with a player once. He was maybe 26. Very good player, borderline NBA player, but high-level player still. I thought he was an NBA talent, but kind of went up and down. But he was so good at protecting the ball all the time. Big guy, 6'9", 6'10". I asked him, how did you learn how to always protect the ball so well when you're jabbing and pivoting? He said, just experience. I got it stripped so many times when I was younger. Okay. So my job as a coach is to accelerate the learning process.
Yes.
Everyone's going to learn. Are you watching that show, The Bear?
I have not, but I heard great things about it.
Fucking amazing, yeah. So season 2 is right up your alley. Season 1's about a kind of a war. The New York Times wrote about it. It's just a war in the kitchen. Season 2 is about building a team, building a championship team, including like references from Coach K's book.
Oh,
like it's referencing Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan.
Nice,
Very good stuff, Jarod.
Nice.
But the skill of scooping this and putting this into the dessert, everyone can learn it.
Right.
The hard part is figuring out what to make. The easier part is making it, but it takes a long time to figure it out. The job of a really good chef as a coach makes it faster. I don't want to take 6 months before I got it. I want to do 6 weeks or 6 days.
Right.
All of us should be the same way. We all can learn to make layups. Can we teach them to make layups faster? So that's really our job. And then the player has to have urgency about it.
Yeah.
Feel like I can get this. So in Jeremy's case, He's a little bit challenged because he's got talent in a lot of places. Sometimes you could be too talented. I think Lamar Odom was too talented.
He's very talented.
Jeremy's different, but still too talented. And that's a good problem to have, by the way. It's a good problem to have. But still, it's a problem. So what are you going to do? You're going to try to be a facilitator like Draymond Green? Yeah, possibly. You can't shoot. Are you going to work on that? Also, it'd be good. How do you dominate offensively? How do you take away players defensively with the talent, length, and athleticism? He was in Brooklyn for the draft, as you saw probably on that. That's cool. He's probably invested in the team.
Yep.
I'd like to see him more focused on defense than offense. That doesn't mean you don't focus on offense too, but I want him to go to bed and wake up, think about defense. How can I help how can I be a better on-ball guy? How can I be a better off-ball helper? I don't know if he's playing Summer League. I don't think he is, but I could be wrong. If he is, probably for a game or two.
What year is he?
He just is going to year 2. He's young.
He should play, right? If you're going to year 2.
I'm not a big believer in. Here's my thing. It's a great question. We'll get to Summer League later, I know. What are you playing for? To me, the first thing I had a player who started a lot of games last year who was told he was going to play Summer League. His agent called me and I said, "Are you fucking kidding me? What is he playing for?" So we pushed back on it. The team told us, well, we're changing our defense. We want him to be more acclimated. He's a key defensive player for us. And then I said to the agent, cut him off after a couple of games. And they thought, the team's like, oh, that's great. All right, fine.
That makes sense.
What are our benchmarks? What are we trying to do here? In Jeremy's case, I don't think it's a challenge for him defensively. So I would say for Summer League, if you played 1 or 2 games, can we get 25 points efficiently? How do we do it? Let's figure it out. I think I may have told you once I talked to Scotty Barnes, pre-draft trainer, who has a great coach named Ross McMains. He's with the Celtics now. He was with the Maine Celtics this year. I said, Ross, he told me a story of how he asked everyone to come up with a way to score 25 points in a game. It took Scotty Barnes forever to do it.
I remember that.
But that's a good exercise. And so, Jeremy, I want you to score 25. How are you going to do it? I have a player playing in Summer League. He's very good. He's too good for Summer League. He killed it last year. I said, maybe score 40. Okay. So I said, you better bring ice.
But efficiently,
pack it on.
Right?
Yeah. Always, I would never want my guys to take a bad shot. But if you know how to read the game, there's good shots everywhere in Summer League because it's a mess. So this guy's smart. So I said, bring ice for your elbow because we're going to shoot that shit, right? So have a plan for Jeremy and offensively, but then for training camp, let's already be seen as the guy trending towards all defensive team. That would be really good for Jeremy.
I love all of this where you're going because it leads perfectly into so much stuff you're saying about high hand contests and knowing your assignment, racing, not running the floor. Especially for rookies and young guys, right? Who are trying to get playing time. That's the number one thing for most coaches.
Number one, breaking the rotation.
Right. If you're not hustling and doing you ain't going to play anyway. So master that stuff. So I love that you went there. Okay. So last summer, without saying a name, I know you worked with an all NBA caliber player. And sometimes you work with rookies coming in or younger players. I know there's a difference, obviously, in learning capacity, speeds, what you're working on, but it's the same general approach, I imagine, for you, right? It's blocks that we're building to get to some desired end result. Let's walk us through the differences between working with an all-NBA caliber player and then, okay, I got to break the rotation, coach, what we're working on here.
Yeah. So the all-NBA player has already figured out a lot of the game, and so we got to try to enhance those skills a little bit because they're already pretty good. In this case, we worked on kind of adding some things, adding more fakes to your game because I think you should get to the free throw line more. He got really good at that. Be a little more deliberate as to where you want to get to on the court and then give him some skills to how to get there with your hand or whatever. And then we had to build some counters to his favorite moves. And so then work on threes and all of that. For rookies, is, hey, kid, don't turn the ball over. Stop dribbling to those areas of the court. You're going to lose the ball there. Here's our better stance defensively.
So is it like a PhD course in kindergarten?
Yeah, the way I've described it is the reason why I stopped doing pre-draft myself is it's like teaching the same graduate school class every year. And then the reality is all these young players in pre-draft, that's not even a graduate school class. It's ENC 101. I'm not kidding. I mean, it's never been just everything's a high level. I had a first team All-American. I can say his name now. He's a coach. His name is Chris Carrawell. Chris played at Duke, McDonald's All-American at a Cardinal St. Ritter High School in St. Louis. Very, very good player in high school. First team All-American at Duke as a senior. He couldn't make left-hand shots well, and he didn't take charges. Drafted, I think, in the 30s, maybe 33 or 34. Never made the league. Played in Europe for a while. He's been coaching with Coach K for a long time. Great guy. Great. And I thought he was a hell of a player. I don't know why I didn't make it. I wasn't helping NBA players back then. I'd work him out in summer league and redraft, and then I'd never see him again. He's one of the reasons why I built the in-season business, because he should have made it. But I was amazed he couldn't shoot his left-handed finish. He also couldn't shoot threes. But it worked well at Duke. Duke's job is not to develop you for the NBA. It's to develop you to win games. That's Coach K's job. That's fine. I'm fine with that. So, yeah, it's much more basic. Understanding terminology. I have a player right now who is going for a two-way spot. He's been told, you're one of two guys we're looking at for a two-way. He's had a two-way before. He's played overseas. Now he's going for a two-way again. We spoke last night after his first day, and we're going through the language of the offense.
Yeah.
Here's all everyone. They're all running the same actions. They all call it something different. So he calls me every day, and we walk through the language of the calls. English isn't his first language, so we're trying to make we're trying to make sure he understands exactly what everything is, and he thinks he has to make threes to make the team. I don't agree, and so I'm helping him understand everything you're doing matters too, not just the 3-point shot. That comes and goes. They believe you can be a good shooter. We'll see how you're growing that. It'd be nice to make threes, but if you don't do this other stuff, I don't think you'll make it either.
Oh my God, this is so interesting. I love this. And guys are getting really diving into Coach Thorpe's big basketball brain. So NBA terminology, right? That's one thing for sure. So that's something I know, although I don't know because I'm not familiar. Maybe you would know. At, let's say, Overtime Elite, for instance, I imagine they're not using NBA terminology there.
I think that they're probably using some. Okay. I don't know whoever the coach is, but remember too, even with NBA terminology, it could be unique to different teams.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But the concepts are the same. Okay. But by the way, the young guys don't even know the concept. So, for example, I'll give an example. So this is the origin of this. I saw the Spurs beat the Heat in 2015, I think it was, and I noticed that San Antonio was doing a great job of catching on the move in their attack, and I thought it was because of the speed of Miami's defense, and that was something that, remember, Pop had played them the year before too. So I started calling that Spurs action. So you follow football more than I do now. You remember the West Coast offense? Yep. West Coast was short passes, but on the move. Used to be, except for like post patterns and fly patterns, people ran to spots. Yep. West Coast was on the move, put pressure on the defender to make the tackle, right? Yep. And then if they don't, like Jerry Rice, you keep going.
Correct.
Okay. So I really adopted that. I saw the Spurs do what they did. I called it Spurs action. My son was in 6th grade when I did it. It's actually right around the same time. And I really started getting movement all the time. And it really made a difference, I thought, in what he was doing. And now they call it a go catch. So a go catch, I also have something called quick attack, which is stand still, catch, quick, go. The go catch is Spurs action for me. It's we're already moving when the ball is being thrown, which means you have to lead your player with the pass to force him to move.
Throw him open.
You're throwing him open, and then they're racing, and that puts the defender in peril. Well, who knows? Most people call it a go catch now, but some teams can call it something different. That's fine. But the concept is what's key. So, for example, I teach all our players quick attack. I don't care what you call it in one of your 30 teams. When you catch it, you're immediately attacking, which is why we call it quick attack. It's attacking quickly, right? A go catch on the move, come out of the corner racing, already be running when they throw you the ball. They don't do that kind of stuff at that age typically. So you get them grasp those concepts, understand the terminology at your place, and then start doing it or start defending it.
Yeah. The other thing you mentioned was this player said, well, I have to shoot threes. Is that because of the revolution of the 3-point shot and how its prevalence now? Is that something you feel like players are too focused on? And they're like, look, I know it's important that it is, but you got to work on this other stuff. You won't even get in the rotation.
So I don't like variables to be unanswered. I don't like questions. So I don't typically like to deal with too many agents. I do like to deal with the players directly. There are some agents who I think are good people, and I'm happy to talk to them, of course. There's a lot of them who are very good. Uh, Whenever one of my guys has to go to summer league, I need benchmarks. What are we going for? What's our purpose? And then if we're going to make a spot, meaning if we already have a contract, that's one thing. If we don't have a contract, what do we need to do? What is it? Offensive rebounding? Is it defensive rebounding? Is it 5 things, 3 things? If they don't mention 3-point shooting, I'm not going to mention 3-point shooting, other than to say take good shots and hold your form and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. If shooting is everything, well, then we have to understand that. But I can't tell the player, you better make threes or else. Right. That's not going to help. So I'm a big believer in find ways to help your team win possessions. That's going to give you confidence, and that's going to help you shoot better. Yeah. Right? Also take good shots. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Shot selection's big.
That's your big thing, right? Like, it's hard to have success when you're not having success, right? And one way you can have success is by helping them win possessions, right?
Yeah. Set great screens, make the right cut, make the right read, use pass fakes. There are some players, J.R. Smith comes to mind, Jordan Clarkson come to mind, who almost have no conscience as shooters. And I'm not even being critical. It's funny, but I'm not being critical. We want our players to not worry about the other shit. Now, I prefer them not having 10 turnovers. But those guys can have 10 turnovers and still shoot your lights out. Right? They also can shoot your own lights out because they can't make a shot. Yeah. Most guys are a little more conscientious. Right. And so we got to get them to understand that when you're making good plays all over the place, it gives you license to take the threes you're supposed to take anyway and shoot with confidence.
Yeah. No, this is all fascinating and interesting, and I think it gives people and fans out there a good lens to watch Summer League. Now, of course, you guys will not be privy to what benchmarks are for these players, right? But watch when you watch your favorite team and watch these young guys, watch what they're doing well and not so well, right? And not just about scoring the ball, right? See what they're, those things that David mentioned. Are they doing hand-high contests? Right. Are they setting good screens? All those
Are
things.
They arriving early to closeouts? Are they hustling to closeouts? They better be if they're trying to make a team. Are they making the extra pass? No, typically in Summer League. It's very bad basketball. Are they willing screeners? Or are they just kind of going through the motions? Mm-hmm. Too many players do that. It's alarming to me that they do. My guys won't be doing that. But anyone that I'm helping, and I'm at a point now in my career, Jarod, where I kind of like coach the coaches wherever they go, including sometimes with their own teams. Mm-hmm. I'm happy to say I know some assistant coaches and mentor them and mentoring my players, the guys that I'm helping. And we take pride in all those things. We take pride, for example, in hyper accurate passes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not just accurate, hyper accurate, exactly where it needs to be. Really reliable with the ball. Understand if you're a guard, you better know what your coach wants in every possession. All those little things really make a difference to me. Don't allow, I always say, a relentless rebounder, don't allow yourself to be blocked out. Don't allow yourself to be blocked out. You have to recognize that he's in front of you, so go around him or spin or fake one way, come the other. Like, do something. And if you allow yourself to get blocked out, I think you're easier to cut, personally.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's so interesting because you mentioned in your development that you said, go to sleep thinking about fakes, wake up thinking about fakes, right? Shot fakes, pass fakes, all it. Guys, if you watch the NBA Finals, you see it. Those things work all the time. You know how many times I see
Jimmy Butler.
Yes. I mean, he's like, right? He lands in there, jump stop, looks like he's going up. Everybody's up in the air. Too late, foul. Right? Like, and these are the best defenders in the world, right? Best players in the world. Everyone, like, it's an amazing skill that if you have in your arsenal, because the key, coach, right, is to make it look like how your normal shot looks like. So how am I supposed to know if it's a shot fake or not? Looks the same to me, right? So here's a question. Defensively, how do you coach someone when you know Jimmy shot fake coming?
I talked to for about 45 minutes this morning. I talked to a NBA coach who's now in college, who's recruiting overseas. He's over in I think Hungary for the under 19. Mm-hmm. And we talked about what he called impulse control. So he coached at a high level team, Division One, NBA prospects. Mm-hmm. Guys get drafted every year from his team, and he's recruiting a player in the transfer portal now because you can still transfer
Mm-hmm.
if your coach got fired.
Yep.
Or you're a grad transfer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The other guys can't. So he's got a guy that I don't know what his story is. Well, I do know, but I just can't say. But he has no impulse control. So he said he jumps for everything. You can coach that up. Yeah, better to do that than the guy that won't challenge anything.
Yes.
Right. They're puppies jumping and everything. We always say puppy dogs. They're jumping. Hey, settle down. The game, the irony of the NBA is those guys play slower than anyone, and yet it's the fastest game.
Yes.
Because they're reading everything all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're taking advantage of everything. You're almost hurt by being so quick if you have no impulse control. The guy that's slow but has no impulse control, he's not going far. Jokic is advantaged by not being able to jump.
Yeah.
Number one, he may not jump as often to begin with, which is good.
Right.
But he's landing on the floor faster. He's not way up in the air. Guys are way up in the air. You can watch them float by,
Well, this too, that you're reminding of it, and I'm thinking about NBA guys. This is early Jaren Jackson Jr., right?
Of course.
It's just everything, and it's like, just tamp him down a little bit. It's like, oh, you tamp him down a little bit, defensive player of the year, right? It's like, you just,
don't be the first to jump. The rule is don't be the first to jump. Don't be the first to jump if defensively. Yeah. Let them do it. Then
let them go first, and then you use your quick burst off.
Yeah.
Straight
That's
up.
why
vertical.
you want your hands up. If your hands are down and you jump, it's too late.
Too late.
Our hands are already up, then you jump if you want to jump. Yeah. All those things, we're coaching all that stuff all the time.
And it's, it seems so like, just, it makes common sense. I'm 7 feet tall. Why wouldn't I have my hands up at all times? Right? So that way I don't have to jump. Like, I'm huge. Just keep my hands up.
These guys, when they finally figure that out, arms wide, arms high, it's a game changer for them. But I think I've told this story once before. I had a player going back a couple of years. It was during the pandemic, and he had been injured. He came back from injury. And one thing I noticed on film was very tall, very long guy. His hands were always down. And I told him, I pounded in his brain for 3 months while he was just recovering. He wasn't playing. So he called me after his first practice and he said, his shoulders are so sore. And I said, did you guys do a different weight stuff? And he said, no, coach, I'm just so focused on hands up the whole time. He's like, I've never done that before. My shoulders are killing me. I said, yeah, good for you.
Better work on those deltoids, my guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the bet. What's the point of having a big wingspan if you don't have it? You don't use it. Yeah.
It's beyond me. Like, I think Oklahoma City called it the stick hand when they had Durant, right?
Stick hand.
You're just keep it up, because that number one, someone's got to think about that now. Great, I got 7 feet in my face. Now I got to really think about what I'm going to do here.
Right.
It's just amazing. All right, let's move to some on the floor stuff in the league, Coach. The Lakers. Rob Pelinka had had some media availability recently, and he said, basically about, are you worried because all these teams in the West are like making moves to challenge Denver? And, this typically happens after a champion is crowned, right? Everyone's kind of like, okay, what do we have to do to match up with this team? Happened when the Warriors were doing their thing. How do we stop? It's just, I don't know. It's just common reactionary behavior by teams. That's a team we have to go through. How do we get better in beating them? Whereas I think your thought process should be, how can we get as versatile as possible to play any different style of basketball? But that's neither here nor there. So Pelinka said, we want to try our hardest to keep this core of guys together and also improve around the edges and on the margins to not only get back to where we were last year, but hopefully take the next step and get to the NBA finals. And I was thinking about that in the context of LeBron, because whenever a team LeBron's on, you have to think about LeBron. This has been his MO since he's been in the league. He wants veteran guys, old dudes who know how to play, right? Those types of things. But with young, mostly unproven guys last year, they did quite well. Do you think that if you're the Lakers, it's a wise bet to just come back, do the margin moves, but bring Austin Reeves, of course, who we like, Rui Hachimura, Vanderbilt, and just bring them back on the money they need to re-sign them and run it back again? And I asked specifically in the case of someone like Rui, who he was incredible in the playoffs last year, Coach, but that's the one sample size we've seen him shoot that well. I'm still not sold that's who he is as a player all the time.
Agreed. Yeah, I do think there's an argument that we can just improve in the margins because of how we finished the season. They after the terrible start, they were a good team.
Excellent defensive team. Really,
an excellent defensive team. LeBron's such a brilliant passer that if people get open more because of it, because everyone's a threat. The team's always going to be fallible because of their injury-prone stars. But I wouldn't overpay Rui. He does have some offensive upside for sure. Yeah, he does. I think they can be really good again.
They could. I think the biggest thing is what you just mentioned. We know it's pretty likely at some point next year, LeBron and or AD will be on the injured list for some stretch of time.
Yeah.
And is the rest of that team good enough to weather that? Because I don't think they want to get in a scenario where they were last year, right? Which was play-in. I mean, they should have lost the play-in to Minnesota, right? I mean, so do they want? They don't want to be back in that situation again, right? Where they're like, okay, we're the 10. Now we got to beat. That's a lot of work to get back, and then to do what? To get to the conference finals and get swept by Denver. Now, I know if you want to argue, yeah, but the games were close. I'm like, look, I think Denver's considerably better than they are. Now, will that continue going forward? I don't know. Denver's got its own issues to worry about. Bruce Brown et al. Which they're probably
that's not to be glossed over.
No, it's huge
because they only played basically 7 dudes, and one of them was Jeff Green. So losing Bruce Brown is a big deal.
Yeah, I think they have to find a. I mean, the question is, if he gets 4 years and 80 somewhere else, it's like, well, you can't.
Christian Brown won't be as good as Bruce Brown next year.
He will not. He could be good. He could be good.
He could be. He was terrible in the regular season. He was good in the postseason, but it was a different role that he was playing that he probably would play without Bruce.
It's asking a lot. And that, again, that goes back to what you do. It's the development, right? This is where all these teams are figuring out. Can we, and we'll get to this later when we talk about it some more, can we find enough guys to be net positive players who we don't pay a ton of money to? That is your goal, right? That's bonus wins. The teams that do have the most players that do that, because you know what, your max guys are screwing up your cap, eating up all the money. So that is where it is, and you're locked into those. Do you have enough dudes who, wow, we only pay him $2 million, but he's +6 in bonus wins? That's how Memphis was so good last year, right? Because everybody was making little money and huge in bonus wins. We'll see. We'll see how these teams think about it. Another team I want to look at, David, is the Atlanta Hawks. 2 years ago, we wrote here at TrueHoop that the Hawks, and this was coming off the year they went to the conference finals, they can win a title whenever they decide they're ready. And because we were very high on that whole team. Trey, DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Huerter, Bogdanovich, Okongwu, Capella, John. We were like, we love this. Cam Reddish was on that. We love that team. We were like, this. Since then, they've had another new coach, a whole new front office. John Collins is gone. Kevin Huerter is gone. Gallinari's gone. We have some questions about everything. We think Trae Young's a problem in many ways, right? In terms of, can you build around him? Is he someone that's coachable? The DeAndre Hunter experience in terms of his development. I know development's not linear, but he hasn't made the progress that one would expect for where he is in his career and for what they've extended him for. And now no John Collins, which they clearly dumped just to dump salary, right? Everybody's like, oh, they open up cap space. I'm like, cap space for what? I don't know if they're making any moves. They did bring DeJounte Murray back in a deal, but again, this is a team who, were they, 9th? Did they make the play-in last year? Yeah, they did.
Playing, yeah.
They did. They were playing. They lost to the Heat.
Yeah, Miami beat them.
Yes. Man, what are we doing in Atlanta?
So you're being very gracious about saying we published.
Well, listen.
It was me. But it was me. And I thought that they had the construct to be NBA champions. And things blew up pretty fast after that. Cam Reddish stalled out. Never really developed, and he wasn't playing for most of the time anyway.
No,
but we knew what kind of talent he had.
Tons.
We have Trey. Trey has his own, so many issues with Trey, but there's no arguing what kind of passer and scorer he can be. He did not shoot well last year. I think Hunter is as much a story as anything because he's been injured, and they had to have him as that 3
because he's the big wing,
right? And I thought John Collins could be moved as I don't remember the article anymore, but. Like he was a piece that could, someone else could use him if you didn't feel like you need him. Bogdanovich was hurt. He's back,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he's back this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I looked at their roster today. Jalen Johnson's a super talented guy they got late in the first round that was always considered a lottery pick. I don't remember where they drafted him, but he was considered like top 5 talent. He's talented. He's 21 years old. So they still, Quinn knows what he's doing.
He does. They have a Kongwu.
I have not been a Quinn Snyder Utah Jazz postseason series fan. I'm a big Quinn Snyder Utah Jazz regular season fan and believe he'll get better in the postseason. And I'm sure if I talked to Quinn, he would tell me the reasons why they failed and it wasn't his fault. And I probably am wrong. The coach deserves some credit and blame. He definitely knows how to build a good team. They share the ball beautifully under his idea, his ideas. That may not be how Trey likes to play best. So that's something to watch, something to really watch. But they should have 48 minutes of him or Murray on the court.
At all times. Yep.
That's a positive.
Yep.
48 minutes of Okonwa, Capella on the court at all times. That's a positive. They've got the making still of a very good team.
Yeah. The play in, and again, that was about Trey and maybe Nate not seeing eye to eye. Hopefully, this new
not maybe.
Oh well, yeah, not we know it
sounds like we
yes,
know. Yeah.
Clearly, we know not seeing eye to eye. Hopefully, this is better because look, it's time now for Young to start making that next leap up. Is right, it's part of that draft class. Everybody else in that draft. I mean, yes, he did go to a conference finals, but now we're looking back on it thinking, how real was it? Right, like in terms of your leadership. Because remember that summer, that next year, he said, given what we accomplished last year, it's hard to get up for the regular season.
I remember.
And we're like, what do you mean what you accomplished? You went to one conference finals.
Swing and a miss, Trey. Swing and a miss.
It's like, what, you think this is an every year thing? Like,
this is what I was saying before about Jordan Poole. This is human struggle with success.
Yes, they do. It's hard. The Bulls, they made a move yesterday. They extended Nikola Vucevic 3 years, $60 million. And that 20 number is like, it's like a nice round number. I think it works. I think the big thing is Bulls fans are saying we didn't overpay, which they didn't. That's about right, I think, for him. But the Bulls have other issues right now. Lonzo Ball likely not playing again next season, and that's just sad from a human standpoint. Because all the jokes are flying about the Lakers
I love
are wrong. I thought he was a hell of a player, like defender, excellent passer, can shoot the three. The ball doesn't stick with him, right? An excellent player to have on the floor.
I love Lonzo Ball.
And they had a goal in their mind, right, with him and Alex Caruso as your point of attack guards. Oh man, that would be nice, right? And that's a big backcourt, 6'5", and
that defends,
right? You like that, right? You stick that on like
lot.
Imagine that backcourt healthy. Stick them against the Cavaliers, against Donovan Mitchell and
Darius
Garland, right? Problems for the Cavaliers, right? Because those guys are physical and long, right? But it looks like, again, Lonzo will not be playing next year. They also have some free agents to worry about. Io is a restricted free agent. Patrick Beverley is an unrestricted free agent, and they have a choice to make about Pat Williams. Do they extend him? I believe he's up for his extension.
He's been 3 years in the league now. Yeah.
So
that's October for that.
Okay, so I mean, it's this is.
I would think so.
I would imagine
he won't get a max deal, and I don't know what his agent would do. He may bet on himself, but maybe not because the team may struggle this year.
Kobe White also a restricted free agent,
right?
And then but you got DeMar and Zach LaVine, and they're both excellent. So I guess you'll find a way to win 40 games, right? Because
that's what I was thinking.
Just because you have those guys, you're not gonna lose a ton because it's hard when those guys are cooking. You're gonna win you're gonna win your fair share of games. But this is a team not poised to do much, and I just wonder what's the ultimate game plan here? Where are we going? Is this rebuild time? Is this
could be trade DeRozan, trade Zach LaVine? Keep Pat Williams, and I think that's probably and then Vooch is movable.
Yes, that's because in some team will need a big man at some point, as they do every year. So, David, the draft last week, I'm always looking at, we talked about bonus wins just a little while ago. I'm looking at low risk, high upside, which I'm sure most GMs are, right? Particularly when you go late first into the second round. Because second round, especially, those contracts aren't guaranteed. So the
Well,
Cavs,
no. They don't have to be
they
guaranteed.
don't have to be guaranteed. Correct.
Some guys will, very few will sign guaranteed deals. Yeah.
So the Cavaliers made a bet and said, "Oh, Monty Bates, let's go after this kid." And that was an intriguing name for me, David, because I remember at one point in time he was a number one player in his high school class.
Yeah.
And you know how it is. Anytime anybody sees a tall, skinny kid, what's the immediate comp? The Kevin Durant, and it's like, why are you doing this to these kids? Like, this is like, stop it. Stop using that. It's disrespectful to Kevin Durant, number one, and it's not fair to the kids, right? Like putting that kind of pressure on them. Okay. He has a weird sort of end to his high school career, and part of it's COVID, but still weird. He went to some like startup high school, like all of it was just very odd. A lot of moving around, which I know moving around happens a ton, but this startup high school that his dad started, it just seems strange. Then it was Memphis, then Eastern Michigan, and the reason why is he had some a problem with a gun, which we don't love. But the Cavs said, "Look, low risk, right? If we don't like him, just cut him." But this guy was number one in his class at some point. We like some things we see. You've watched tape of Amani Bates. What do you think? Well, first of all, talk to us about his problems, and then on the floor, and then what could happen if he's incubated properly.
I mean, the metrics are what they are. The physical metrics. He's tall, 6'9" for a guard. It's pretty good. Can't shoot, but isn't a terrible shooter. But he's not an athlete, and he's short-armed. The NBA had him maybe +1. He's not short-armed. He's slender. So his wingspan before the NBA measured him, he had a negative wingspan, which means wingspan is shorter than your height.
That's T-Rex. That's not good.
Right. That's what we always say, T-Rex arms. That's not what the NBA reported. They had him like, if I remember, I was +1. But his standing reach was good, 8'9". That's good. That means his shoulders are narrow. I don't really care about that so much. But he's not much of an athlete. So the only way to make it is to be a really skilled ball handler, shooter, sniper, right? Maybe he'll be that, but he hasn't been yet. It hasn't worked out for him yet. So I think Cleveland took a gamble that, hey, we can light this guy up and have him score 16 a game in Summer League and 18 a game maybe, and maybe in year 2 or year 3 for us, Ben Mathurin scored 16 a game as a rookie. I think it was.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they're thinking.
And hopefully he finds some maturity, which clearly he needs to, right, at 19.
And maybe he has, but also they're not as worried about defense because of Mobley and Jarod Allen.
Well, it helps when you have 2 7-footers that are really good defensively. Yeah. And maybe they also hope Donovan Mitchell kind of mentor for him a little bit. Like, listen, buddy, here's how you be a professional basketball player.
Darius Garland, too.
Right.
What have we ever heard negative about Darius Garland?
And I like him. Darius Garland, son of a pro also.
I like those guys. Yeah. I like those guys a lot.
Here's how you be a professional, my man. And I think, David, I know coaching for you is important, and we don't love the idea of, you bring vets in to coach players, right? But I think there is some value in good veterans who know how to be professional, showing through example and teaching kids, this is how you be a professional athlete, right? Come to work on time, right? Things that we think are commonplace and everybody just knows, oh, you come to work on time. I don't know. Not all these kids know that.
Raising our children, my wife and I took the approach of if there's 7,000 things that our kids need to really learn. I'm making up the number. Let's say 7,000. Well, we could try to teach them all 7,000. They're not going to learn everything the first time you tell them. So we want to surround them with people that'll be saying similar things to us as often as possible. And then we can keep checking those 7,000 lists off. It's no different than this. So you could tell a player, show up early, stay late, whatever, all you want. But when they see it, it becomes habitual. You can tell them, probably not a good idea. No, definitely not a good idea to get McDonald's after every practice.
Right.
But when they see veterans doing the right thing, when going out, I had a player tell me this year, a rookie, he promised me he does drink some. But his point was, I was concerned that he was not finding joy in his life. And the game can be too grinding that way and get dark. And the world gets dark. And it was his way of saying to me, Coach, I do let my hair down some. Maybe I should do more. I have to find a way to enjoy life better.
Yep.
But the veteran, there's some veterans you see in movies and stuff too, where they'll know when to put the music on, or hey, let's go out, let's just tie one on, or whatever. Like I'm 58 years old. There's been times in my life with my wife of 30 plus years now where I'm like, let's just drink a couple bottles of wine, order some pizza. It's been a week.
Yeah, for sure.
Right now, it's big talk. We normally don't get past the first bottle. I can't tell you the last time we drank 2 bottles in a night. I really can't. I could tell you when I've had too much booze, but not drinking wine too much. But like they're adults, not the 19-year-olds I'm talking about the NBA.
Right.
Those guys have to find other joys.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And veterans can help with that. Just now, here's when to be serious. Here's where we can relax a little bit. The coaches can't teach everything.
Right.
And so I think it's great to have a great veteran presence. When the Pacers cut, oh my goodness, who's the player? James Johnson. I saw him. I know the players love James Johnson. I saw him at the game after he got cut, watching the game, like in the front row behind the basket. Right away, I texted one of the players. I'm like, oh, he's coming back. Like they're bringing him back. They just needed to cut him for whatever reason, which they did. They brought him back the next day.
They recognize the value.
He brings something to the table, and some rookies told me like he was key for us.
No, it's so important. So obviously there's a new CBA that everybody knows about, but the actual articles of that CBA finally got into the hands of the teams yesterday. All that stuff we've been talking about and hearing about, the luxury tax, second tax saver, and all that, that's just stuff that's been leaked out about it. Now the official full 400 pages, however long it is, finally went out to all the teams. By the way, good luck to all those front offices now having to rack their brains understanding all the ins and outs of those things. Well, that's why they pay you guys big bucks. So enjoy. But David, it's very clear the league parity is what they're driving towards with all of these decisions around team building. That's what they seem to like. You called it at the beginning of the season. You're like, about 10 or 12 teams already on the championship bus. Anybody can win. And Denver was one of the teams on the bus to start the season. And I think that's where the league hopes it's going. It's going to be harder now for teams to get that dynastic run going and keeping a bunch, 2 to 3 max player guys on a team, in addition to your $15 and $20 million role players. You won't be able to do it. And we know these owners, they don't like paying luxury tax, so most of them are going to find a way to get out of that. And I because they're cheap. I thought it was just interesting because now more than ever, and again, at TrueHoop, I'm not just saying this because I work here and whatever, but we're prescient about this stuff, and we read the tea leaves, right? Henry and Stephen Alardi came up with bonus wins last year or 2 years ago.
Last year.
Bonus wins now more than ever. That is what it's going to be. So GMs and player development personnel, they're going to have to basically do their jobs and do it well, right? Where can we find the talent that we're not paying 10, 12, 15, 18, $20 million to? They're under team-friendly deals, 2 to 5, yet they're producing like someone who makes that kind of money. That was Bruce Brown in the playoffs last year. That was all the Memphis Grizzlies. These are all these various guys who can do that. And this is the job, right? This is the job right now. And, you look at a team like Phoenix where how the hell are you going to find bonus wins? And because you need all bonus wins because you're through those 3 guys or 4 guys, not even 3, 4. Those 4 guys are taking up your entire salary cap. That's it. So everyone's on minimums and whatever. So it can't just be old dudes. You're going to have to play young guys who are going to fuck up and make mistakes, but you got to find a way to coach them up right and, figure out how to, we can lean on these guys come the postseason.
You got to teach them like crazy, and you got to have a good voice about it, and you got to be relentless about it, but not be overbearing. The teams that figure this component out the next 5 to 10 years are going to be the teams that win most frequently, no matter who their star is, because they're going to get the other things solved. And they're going to be able to pencil in guys at smaller money that produce big dividends. Yeah.
No, I think the part you made about the star, whatever the star player is, I think is right. So I look at a team like Milwaukee, right? That's the situation they're facing right now. So Middleton opts out. The idea is he's coming back. What do they do about Brook Lopez, right? Very critical to what they do, but he's going to want 18. I mean, he actually should probably get 20. He should get Vooch money, right? But that's going to screw them up for the rest of the roster, right? So it's okay. Can we find someone that can approximate that, but be better in spots 7 through 9? I don't know. Can you? Like, you trust Bobby Portis to be like, these are the questions they have to answer and figure out. Again, this is where GMs are going to make their money. The Warriors are in a similar situation, right? They're jettisoning their young guys. So I think for them, the key now
we
is
got Kuminga and
Moody still. Those two, to me, are the key because they were both lottery picks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
If those guys can produce like how we think because they have, and you agree, they have tremendous talent. If they can start giving that bonus win situation, well, now you're cooking with gas because they're on team-friendly deals and they're under 23.
For 2 more years.
So you can really, now you're talking, but that's about development and you guys got to coach them up right. And particularly in that system, which is not like anybody else's system, right? That's seemingly a hard system to learn. David, you mentioned
a lot of reads, a lot of skill required, patience required. There's no other option. They can't afford anything else.
No, yeah. This is the reality. So, as you guys are watching your teams and rooting for it, pay attention to those margin moves, right? Like if they're getting rid of a player, a veteran, a name and it's some undrafted or rookie or some player from Europe that's young, don't automatically poo-poo it. Start thinking, okay, who could this play? What can this player be for us? There's a reason, right? We're trying to win on the margin here. Can they be someone who excels at bonus wins? I'm not saying they will. That's up to your team to figure it out, but we'll see. We started the show talking about summer league and development, and I know, David, you mentioned a lot of great stuff about summer league basketball is bad, but if you have to go, there are benchmarks and things that you should be looking for. Go with a plan. That's David's whole thing. You never go into any situation with no plan, or else what the fuck are we doing here? Like, let's figure out, 30 points, great. We're doing 30 points efficiently. Two games in a row. Let me see you do it. Show me how. And I bet for you, when the players come back, you have grades on their 30 points, right? It's like, oh, well, that shot you took in the third quarter, 5-minute mark, not a great shot. Well, you made it, but right? I imagine you have that kind of detail when you talk to your guys.
Yeah, we definitely focus on process, not result. Yeah, there's no question of that. If you made the right play, what does Sean Connery say in The Untouchables, where if you did your job, you go home and sleep well at night. You did your job. Mm-hmm. The bad guy wanted to shoot you. You shot him first. You did your job. You go home and sleep well. If you took good shots and didn't go in, this is the game. Mm-hmm. You made the shot and it was a bad shot. That's going to be a problem long term, mm-hmm. probably. Very few guys can make those shots. How are you racing the court? All those things. Summer league is such a selfish. They're so worried about running the offense, and the coaches overcoach like crazy. I think it's bad basketball.
Well,
so
is it competing interest, David? Like coaches want to showcase I'm really good I could be a head coach, and then players are like, I have to score 30 to get my next deal. Or
yeah, that's exactly what it is. And they don't know each other very well. The coaches don't know the players. The players don't know each other very well. They pretend to, but they don't. They try, and they don't go in with the plan too often. So it's bad basketball, but we can see things. I would never jump to conclusions about summer league. But if
nobody ever does that. That never happens.
If a player is overwhelmed physically, that's a problem. If he's overwhelming physically, that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. And so these are things that I like to look at and see how they're doing. See what players. I mean, some of these guys in second and third year, they've not played since April. So let's see if they've made a jump. How's their shot look? How's their fitness level? How's their handle? We can see some of those things.
That's amazing. Imagine you hadn't played since April and nothing about your games improved for summer league. That's a problem, right? That's
the way it'll be for a lot of players.
What did you say? You're going to Poland, buddy, or wherever,
or worse. Yeah. There's a lot of Europeans that come. One of my issues with going to summer league, which I'll be there for some days this summer, is I've just been doing this a long time, an old man, so I know a lot of people now, and I love my friends, but I just want to focus on the games. And I'm really, I told my wife I'm thinking about doing a costume.
I was going to wait. And made me think of when we're Bobby Valentine's manager of the Mets and he got kicked out of a game and he came back with like a mustache and glasses and shit.
Right. I'm not doing the mustache. I'll be laughed at in Nevada. But I'll do that. I won't do anything. But I did think about it. I just want to sit. Unfortunately, I think there's two different venues. There's two venues in the same arena. Mm-hmm. That sucks for me because I've already got my whole calendar laid out for the games I want to go. And so often I'll be at one game, then I got to walk to the other. I can't just sit in one corner because if I could, I would. I'd hide in one corner. The people that I want to see, I'll text, hey, come over here.
Right.
But, I'm looking forward to seeing some people. There's the best Thai restaurant in America
Ooh.
called Lotus of Siam.
Okay.
I'll go there one night.
Okay.
I haven't decided. I think maybe I did decide who I'm taking. One guy that I mentor, I want to bring.
Yes.
Yeah.
All our friends who listen to this podcast were like, "Oh man, Thorpe, wait, he's not taking me to that restaurant. Fuck, no, it ain't you."
Yeah.
And don't be following him around to arenas. None of that. If he wants to see you, he'll see you.
I told all my friends, like, hey, here's what I'm doing. But I'm really happy to tell you that some players have asked, can we just watch games with you? Oh yeah, I want to watch with 20-year-olds. What are you seeing? And they're playing in the event, so they might even know some of the guys that have played against the game before, whatever. That I'm looking forward to. Kind of keeps me young a little bit. They're my kids' age. Most of these young summer league players are my kids' age. So that I like that. And I'll see. Larry Kuhn does a big sports management thing. I'm speaking.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually doing. I think I'm doing an hour-long lunch with 4 young people that want to get better at player development.
Okay.
So it's 15 minutes each. He just booked that with me. And then our friend Steve Schembaum is speaking at this event. So I'll go see him, I hope. The problem is there's games going all the time.
Yeah.
So I'll be at these games a lot, and I'll be walking outside in 110-degree weather.
Well, listen, you live in Florida. You're already used to it. What do you?
Oh, it's different. I'm actually looking forward to the heat, not the humidity. I can handle the heat just fine. The humidity, I can handle anything. You get through the swamps of Florida, nothing's bothering me.
That's true.
Nothing in the warm side anyway. I don't love blizzards.
No. Well, we haven't had one up here in a little bit, but they're not fun.
I've driven through some.
They're definitely not fun. No.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, enjoy free agency. Don't freak out if your team doesn't sign who you want. Like, it's fine. Everything's all fine in the end. Teams are going to do what they do. And stay tuned. We will be back next week with some recaps and I'm sure some great insight from Coach and all of us. Take care.